for the first year to do £480,000. The second year we did 7 figures. Now we're doing multi-millions. And next year, hopefully, we're working towards the 10 million. So I took the leaflet. It says, we're going to bomb your village tonight. So if you're a civilian, just leave this village. I jumped, covered my head, waiting for the whole house to collapse on me. Yeah.
Yes, the people, welcome back to another podcast. Today, we have 2 guests. We have the guys behind the company Legend London, which if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen me posting stuff, wearing their stuff. I will let them introduce themselves anyway. I'll pass it over.
My name is Arab Bazi and co-founder of Legend London.
Hello everybody, I'm Ala Bazi, also co-founder of Legend London.
These are brothers, by the way. They don't just have the same second name. So we actually go way back, don't we? I think I was like, one of the first guys.
You were the first influencer.
The first influencer, mate, who sold their stuff.
And you made all the difference.
Exactly, mate. I was the key behind the success. So I want to get into a bit of background and stuff. Hopefully today we're going to learn about the trials and tribulations of business on social media in the modern day and age, and hopefully talk about some interesting shit also. So initially, why I thought of bringing you on the podcast was because those early days when I first went down to London to do some work for you, I think me and you, Ara, went for some food, and we had this mad convo about a lot of just world affairs and general shit. And I thought, this guy's interesting, man, so let's do it. Before we get into a bit of background, your background in business stuff, let's give me a summary of Legend London in respect to how long you've been going, where you started from, where you're at now.
Yeah.
If you can do that.
Legend London started late 2016. It was we started trading in November 2016. The idea started after a series of so many failed initiatives that me and my brother got involved in, and I was left with just £8,000 at the time. I wasted all my, I don't want to say wasted, but I spent most of my savings starting companies that either did moderately well, which wasn't enough for us, or they failed. So I was left with just £8,000 at the time, and my brother was even tired to start anything again. So
I go through this shit again.
Yeah, he got really tired, and I told him, look, I'm left with just £8,000. I don't have any more. Everyone around me was just telling me, just give up and get a job. And he was tired as well. He doesn't want to do anything anymore. But I told him,
no credit in this podcast.
No, the credit is
said
coming.
We should quit.
He was telling me, just get a job, rest a bit, and then start again later on. I told him, look, I have £8,000. If I start one last thing, one more try, if I lose this £8,000, I'm gonna get a job and just commit an entrepreneurial suicide, as they say. So I told him at the time there was a massive trend for fitness online and in general, and online fashion was booming. So I told him, let's come up with an idea that involves fitness and fashion at the same time. What if we can sell products to fitness people that they can wear outside the gym? And he thought about it, and he said, why don't we do jeans? I told him, why jeans? He said, I train legs and I cannot find jeans that fit me.
It's a niche market already, mate. People who train
legs.
legs.
And at the time, I already saw him ripping all his jeans, either in the crotch area or the jeans doesn't fit him well. Or
within a month, I was ordering 20 different jeans just to try them on, and none of them were fitting how I wanted.
Yeah, I actually reverted to Topshop jeans because I found out that girls' jeans were made of more stretchy material back in the day.
So once we thought that there might be a solution that we can provide through jeans to fitness people, we did a market research and we found around three new companies that were doing something similar. So we saw a much higher demand for this product than there is supply. So immediately within 2 months, we created the product and we launched Legend London with just £8,000. I had to do a lot of negotiation with the suppliers, and uh, yeah, it was long. But eventually he accepted to give us a small order. He said, I can see success in you, and I'm going to look at this as an investment. I'm going to give you whatever you want for the first order. And for the future orders, you have to abide to the minimum quantity order that we provide. I told him, yeah, that's fine. I was pretty confident of the idea and where it's going. So I was confident enough to give promises, but at the same time, in business, you cannot guarantee anything. So yeah, we started with a few hundred pieces of jeans and £8,000 to do everything. On the first year, we made £480,000. We were not spending any of the profit. We were very strict. So I think we were spending only £200-300 a month. That was actually all what we were spending from the profit and reinvesting everything. This enabled us for the first year to do £480,000. The second year, we did 7 figures. Now we're doing multi-millions. And next year, hopefully, we're working towards the 10 million.
There you go, people. So that's some authority for the rest of the podcast. Listen the fuck up. All right, so let's wind it back now that people know who you are. Now people are shocked by some figures. They're actually paying attention. Let's wind it back. Let's start. Give me the start. So you tell me, maybe you mentioned that you went on a few different escapades business-wise. Take me back to the first one.
Okay.
Let's go from there.
Yeah. You know, every business that I started, it taught me so much. You learn so much from failure than success. It was just crazy. And the reason Legend London grew so quickly within a year, how you can transform a capital of £8,000 into £480,000 in revenue, this wasn't easy. Legend London wouldn't have succeeded this way if I haven't failed in the past. So the first business idea that I had was the first year in uni. So in uni, I did mechanical engineering. But even when I applied, I knew I wasn't going to be an engineer. I don't like a 9-to-5 job. It's impossible for me to work for someone. But I just did it because my parents were encouraging me to get a degree, and I was very good at maths. So I thought, okay, let me do mechanical engineering. So just 2 months before uni started, at the time, BBM was trending in BlackBerry phones.
Yeah.
So I started buying these phones and selling them to people I know. People in Africa, Middle East, Latin America.
People you know,
yeah,
not
just
in
people
Africa
I
and
knew.
Middle East.
Yeah. So because back then in there wasn't easy access to the latest technological trends. So I was just buying and selling. I was making around £300 profit a week. It was good enough to sustain my
some pocket money.
during summer. So when the trend went down, I failed to I lost confidence in my ability to continuously get phones at a cheap price, because back then people were paying they were overvaluing the BlackBerry. They were paying more than what the market price is because they want it. So when it was fully supplied in the market, I wasn't able to give them the phone at a competitive price. So I stopped doing it because they were saying, you know what, we can get it from someone else for cheaper. And I didn't believe that I can get access to the phone at a cheaper price. So I stopped doing it. I did security course, and I worked as a security guard in Gucci for 7 months, or I think 1 year. Yeah. So I did that, saved £7,000, also no spending, just saving. The second idea we came up with is why don't we create a platform where we teach people self-development and overcoming bad habits. So I spent a whole year working on this idea to finish the platform, the content, the information. And as soon as we launched it, we started making money. We started selling the course. Maybe I was making 100, 200 a day. And for me, that was really good. But the customers most of the people who were subscribing to the platform, they were not people, like they were people who had serious psychological issues, and they were looking at the platform as a solution to their psychological problems. And I knew the platform was not designed for these people. It was designed for someone who just wants to start creating the habit of going to the gym, or someone who wants to wake up early, not someone with a serious problem.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad to sell a program to these people when it's not going to help them, let alone maybe it will create some, I'm not accredited, it may create more problems to these people. And the way the model works with online courses is that you have to overvalue. If you do not overvalue, you will not make profit. Marketing these products is extremely high, the cost. And so within just a week, I started to see this trend of these people subscribing. I felt bad. I thought, I can't make money from this. I refunded everyone and closed the business.
Oh man, a year
After
invested, man. That's heavy.
Yeah, this is at this point. My brother was very tight. He said, "Okay, it's enough." I also worked with a friend of mine. We partnered up, and we did a creative agency. We used to do graphic design, websites, and softwares for companies and people. I was making 1,500, 2,000 a month. Again, we live in London, one of the most expensive cities in the world. It's not enough for me and my family. And I really wanted to help. The reason I got into business is to help my parents. They went through a lot of hardships. They suffered a lot. They gave us everything they have, and this is the minimum that we have to give back. So £2,000 for me, my brother, my mom, dad, it's not going to do anything. So I stopped doing this as well, until I was left with just £8,000. And for me, with every failure, I become more motivated. Like, I do get sad for 3 days. I give myself, 3 days.
Be sad for a while, mate. After that year.
Yeah, be sad just for 3 days. And asking me, was it 3 days? You know, when the platform was closed, it was just 3 days.
Yeah.
I went out. I was walking.
Jumps right back up.
It was just 3 days. I was walking around London, just sad and depressed. And as soon as the 3 days are finished, I came up to him and told him, "Look, I have an idea." He said, "No, that's it, enough." Yeah, but he came up with the jeans idea.
Ah, there you go,
Yeah.
man.
And Joe Delaney.
Quiet master.
And Joe Delaney,
Wow.
2 of the best ideas of the business.
Needs more credit. Needs more credit. So you spent a bit of time in where I forgot where you told me previously you'd been and worked with a family
Angola.
member somewhere or something like that.
Yes. Also, I spent a year in Angola in Africa. I think this was one of the hardest years in my life.
Yeah.
It was. The work
Angola isn't a
environment.
place that I'd typically imagine just going to spend a year like.
Yeah, it's very people there. Like, people go there for business. There's not much entertainment, and everyone is just too focused on work. It was a harsh environment. I love Africa, by the way. I lived in Africa 5 years before Angola,
Whereabouts?
Sierra Leone.
Wow.
Yeah, I really love Africa. The food.
What did you do in Sierra Leone?
My dad had a business there, so when we were young, he still has the business there.
Right.
So when we were young, we were living with him at the time, and then when the war started, we moved to Lebanon, and when the war started in Lebanon, we moved here.
Gee, these wars, man. Inconvenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wherever we go, it's there.
All right, so we're gonna add some war stories from where was it? Which war?
Sierra Leone and Lebanon.
Sierra Leone and Lebanon. Writing war stories. Let's do it.
So have you seen Blood Diamond?
I have seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give me the
during-
diamond,
Yeah.
obviously, man.
During that war, we were in Sierra Leone, and it was, I always say Africa, anywhere in the world is a beautiful place, but during war things get messy. Even with all this, I love Africa so much, but during the war things were really, really bad, really bad. Rebels came in, they started recruiting boy soldiers, young kids, drugging them. asking them to kill their own parents.
Wow.
It was just insane. So when we were in Africa, the war started. My dad was a diamond dealer at the time. He used to work in diamond. He stopped because of how corrupt this industry has become later on. So now his business doesn't have to do anything with diamond. So when the war started, they brought a headless body into our house. So me and my sister were outside.
I wasn't born yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
fucking thankfully, man. I don't want to be born when that's happening.
And the guy came in. He had his body, the body of the guy on the car, on top of the car, and he was carrying his head. So he raised his head. He was showing it to us, and then my mum saw it from inside. She started shouting, "What are you showing my kids?" She ran and took us away, and he said, "I'm showing them who their enemy is." My dad also heard this. He immediately went out.
Who is this?
So it was a rebel against the government.
Okay.
The war was between rebels and the government. So this was the government that came in.
Okay.
So my dad took them to the side. He started talking to them, and when this happened, he said the next day he just arranged for us to leave the country and leave. So with the African war, I didn't experience too much. A few days later, my dad, my parents were British citizens for a very long time. He received a call from the British embassy asking him about two British individuals who were lost. The embassy is trying to find them so that they evacuate them. They're civilians. At the time, the British were targeted. Even the SAS was being deployed into Sierra Leone. And when they take hostages, the British policy is they never negotiate.
Yeah.
They never negotiate. They either use the SAS, like the Iranian embassy in London, or they just keep it as is. So my dad requested what their names are, and they were Irish doctor and an Irish sister in the church, and he knew them beforehand. My mom used to study in the Irish Catholic school. She maintained good relationships with everyone, the teachers and the people who used to work closely with the school. So my dad knew them through my mom. When she graduated, she got married. So my dad knew them. He asked around. He knew that they were taken as hostages in one of the hospitals. So he thought, shall I call the embassy and tell them, or shall I make it easier, just pay the money and get them out? So he decided to speak with the leaders of the people who were taking them as hostages. He knew them. He paid them money, and they released them. They brought him to his house, and then he called the embassy, and he told them. As soon as one of the ladies, she's a doctor, as soon as she came to my dad's house, she wanted to go back. He said, "Where are you going?" She said, "I'm going to go back." He said, "I'm not going to let you out." He locked her inside the house. He called the embassy because, they are missionaries. They want to give their lives for what they believe in and helping people and these kind of stuff. So my dad didn't let her out. He immediately called the embassy. They sent a convoy and they took the ladies back. They brought the ladies back to the UK. So when we went to Lebanon, life was really good. We were 5 minutes away from the beach, amazing beach. And in 2006, a war happened between Lebanon and Israel. So I was playing football. My mom and my siblings were in the city. I was in a village close to my grandma's place. While playing football, the bombs started coming down. In Lebanon, normally it's usual. Bombs come down every few months once. It's nothing major, but this time was a bit different. The bombs were very close to where we're playing, and it was coming closer and closer. So we stopped playing, and everyone went home. We received leaflets. The airplane drops leaflets into where I was, the village that I was in. So I took the leaflet. It says, "We're gonna bomb your village tonight. So if you're a civilian, just leave this village." So on one hand, they're telling us to escape. On another hand, all the escape routes are bombed. You cannot escape. So I knew this night is gonna be a serious night.
Rough night.
Yeah. So at 12 p.m., I got a call from. I was in my grandma's house. I got a call from another relative's house. They were telling me come and spend the night with us. So as soon as I left my grandma's house, I got out and I saw a helicopter coming in, military helicopter. 12 a.m. at night, and they said all civilians leave unless you're a militant stay. As soon as it came close, it turned the light on me. I looked up. I thought, shit, I'm gone. I'm
Oh
gone.
my god.
So I thought, shall I stay out in the open, and if the bomb comes down, it's gonna rip you apart, or go inside the house collapses, and you have a chance of either getting buried alive, or maybe if there was some air coming in, you would still be alive, possibly. There was a higher chance. So I ran back up inside the house. I didn't even reach inside the house yet, and I heard the bomb being released. So I jumped, covered my head, waiting for the whole house to
From the
collapse on me.
helicopter.
Yeah,
Wow.
because it makes a noise when the bomb is the missile is released. It makes a noise. So I jumped, covered my head, waiting for the whole thing to collapse on me. And then luckily it didn't hit where I was. It hit a house behind. So the whole house shook, broken glass, everything. It was crazy. But after this, I was feeling numb. I wasn't scared anymore. Because I thought I was gonna die. And then once, I don't know, maybe it's a reaction from the brain where you reach an extreme level of fear, and then it's calm. It was just
You just don't give a shit anymore.
Acceptance.
acceptance, that level
Wow.
of acceptance. So I just walked back to my uncle, went to my uncle's place, put a mattress under the stairs because it's safer, and I slept through the bombs.
A nice
that night.
sleep, man.
I had a really good. So when I'm sleeping, a bomb comes down, I open my eyes. Oh, I'm still alive. Thank God. Get back to sleep. It was crazy. So yeah, after that, the next day we just received a call that one of the bombed roads didn't destroy the whole road, so there is a gap for one car to pass once at a time. So we got into a car and then we came to the UK.
Wow.
We were thinking, shall we go to Dubai? My mum, shall we go to Dubai or the UK? My mum said, you're approaching university, go get educated in the UK and then do whatever you want in your lives. Yeah. So in Angola, I learned a lot of business skills. Even though it was very, very tough, I was working long hours, and in between I was still reading about business, trying to think and plan what I want to do next. Because I want to start a business. From the moment I took the first job, I knew I was going to start a business. I cannot work for anyone. Maybe it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Definitely
just
an ego.
It's hard.
it's very hard to live for someone else's dream.
Yeah. It depends, though. I think that's like, it depends, like, because you can definitely be. It depends at what level you are, really, because you can definitely be working as part of a company that you may not own and still feel engaged in it and get good value from it. If you believe in the company,
the mission of the company,
and B, believe in your contribution towards it. Like,
True.
because I think if you contribute to something on a group scale, I would argue that that's even better.
Yeah.
I would argue that if you could take away the politics of it, if you had 5 people owning a company, I would say that you would get more out of that than if you had 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Just from that
Sense of
social
ownership
aspect of like being on a journey together. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I feel like I personally miss, because my stuff's all so like solo in a way. Like,
yeah, I know.
so there's definitely, and say you work for some startup somewhere and you feel like you actually contribute.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure that's you know.
Yeah.
I think where the problem comes is that now a lot of companies are on such a scale that you're lost within that company, and you feel like maybe you don't. If you feel like you could be replaced, or that your contribution isn't particularly valuable to the overall.
Yeah.
You know?
Or sometimes when you stop believing in the mission of the company.
Yeah, of course.
That's true. You're right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
cut in.
No.
Back
no
to
problem.
Angola. Tell me about it, man.
Yeah.
So what were you actually doing there? You're helping.
My uncles have businesses there. So when running a business in Africa is different from running a business in the UK, but the fundamentals are still the same. The marketing side, sales, finance, financial management, warehousing. It's very similar. So I learnt a lot, and through my uncles, I sat down. I sat down with a lot of business people. Like in Angola, if someone is making 5 million a year, he's not making enough money. He's not making a lot of money. And there, people are making a huge amount of money, because a lot of good business people avoid Africa because they think it's too risky.
Well, I would think that just generally, this is obviously this is a very broad interpretation, but like generally, I just wouldn't think that places without the same level of economy, lesser economically developed countries would be.
But there's much less competition.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So the people who take the risk can go. Now it's different. Now the Chinese are making massive investments there. It's not the same as it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's much more difficult to do the same amount of money you used to make before. But life in Africa is good, man.
Yeah, I actually heard that Africa is quickly becoming the new kind of labor force.
Yeah.
Because obviously as a country, you can only be a cheap labor force for long enough until that improves your GDP enough to bring so many people out of poverty, and wages have to rise eventually, don't they? And then all of a sudden it's not so cheap to produce stuff in China anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe one day you'll be back in Africa getting you
manufacturing,
stuff.
even manufacturing in
stuff.
Africa is doing really well. China is opening a lot of factories in Africa. They're investing into everything.
I've seen China doing a lot of stuff with the infrastructure in Africa, but I think that's, I don't know, some way involved with the actual governments of each country.
There are agreements. There are a lot of agreements that happen between the countries. I really hope that these investments really benefit the people of Africa.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to, when I look at central London, I see, London, the reason I love it is because it's one of the capitals of the world. It really shows you what's happening externally by looking at London internally, by looking at who's investing in central London, who's coming on holiday to central London. And recently, I lived in London for 11 years now, and it changed. Like, I'm seeing a huge amount of Chinese and a huge amount of African tourists who I've never used to see before. They go to central London, they shop, it's nice to see, but also it gives hints of where the money is. If you want to follow the money, this is how, these are key metrics that you can use to know who's prosperous now in the world.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. It's like my level of interest compared to my actual level of knowledge, it is crazy. That's a bad ratio right there, because it is super interesting looking at emerging markets and which country is going to be the quote unquote the next China, because China are almost through that now. Like you said, even around here, there's so many apartment blocks being built. A lot of them just get bought up straight away. Yeah, it's a lot of Chinese investment. Yeah, and you would never have dreamt of that 40 years ago. Yeah, wow, it's such a crazy transformation. Yeah, it's interesting to keep an eye on things and be like, right, well, where's the next? Yeah, because really, where's the next pot of gold? In a way, if you're going to be on that scale, if you have the money to invest on a large scale. And
I think Brexit has something to do with this change in economy in the world. In the short term, it can affect Britain negatively. Now, one thing I'm not sure about, let's say, Brexit is going to bring political unrest. It's going to destabilize Europe a bit. So will this political unrest affect the economy of the UK? Or in the short term, it's known Brexit has affected the UK negatively. In the long term, what if there are trade deals with China? What if there are trade deals with Latin America, Brazil, Africa? Maybe it gives Britain a bit of freedom, but this political unrest that's going to happen in Europe is
we're already
worrying.
Right in the midst of it, really, aren't we? With the quote unquote rise of populism, and we'll leave it. We'll put it aside. Okay, where were we up to? Angola.
Angola, yeah.
Let me catch up with where we were, man. So you learned about shit in Angola. Basically, it was tough.
Yeah.
Now, do you see business now in London? Would you see that Angola stint as like altitude training in a way? Do you know what I mean? Do you think that now, being in London, you find it easier than before?
Good question. You know, business is never easy anywhere in the world, but different locations bring you different set of challenges. Like in the UK and Europe, this is the pinnacle of talent. So the
Yeah.
competition is so trained, they are so good. The competitiveness of people here is just so insane and puts so much pressure on you to better yourself and your business every single day to cope with how quick the competition is moving. In Africa, the competition is not moving as quick, but also it brings different set of challenges. There's no business regulation in Africa as much as there is here.
Yeah.
So people, and if you have a competitor, they can easily cause harm to your business. Right? So here the competition is about being more competitive. In there, it's about, I don't know how to explain it, but the rules and regulations, they are not well established
They don't
yet.
protect you enough as a
Yeah,
company.
you're not fully protected.
Yeah.
So
like,
you have
I
to protect
imagine
yourself.
Copyrights and stuff in general.
Not only that, it goes way
I'm sure
beyond
it
that.
goes deeper,
Yeah,
mate.
it goes a lot more than that.
Oh.
Yeah. With the problems with the government or problems with certain people in the army. It's all about
General
connections
yeah.
and who your competitor utilizes to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. There's let's say, like, for want of a more, it's like corruption in a way. Like that's what we're talking about. Like,
True.
really, or things that would be considered as like, you know, conflict of interests over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You know, certain contracts might be awarded to certain people
It's
for
true.
in exchange
Yeah.
for certain political, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Hopefully that is changing. I hope so.
Yeah, because
But,
it really, long term, we're going back to world affairs, like, but it's cool. Long term, it really hinders the development of that country. Because there is obviously corruption linked with a level of poverty. Like usually they both correlate because, you know, if I'm a policeman and I'm earning like $5 a day
Yeah.
or whatever, then I'm going to be more inclined to take a bribe so I can
100%.
feed my family.
Of course, yeah.
But obviously that also is prevalent higher up, and so what you get is countries that might receive maybe aid from the EU or America, and then the distribution of that aid won't necessarily be in a way that's best for the people.
Yeah.
Which eventually just forces the whole country to stay at a lower economic level because there's no chance for that kind of. And so long term, it is an issue, and that's why you see all the political campaigns of, you know, every time there's a new president in one of these like South American countries, the old one is getting investigated on corruption charges, or you know, and sometimes maybe it's just political, maybe it's like false imprisonment, and you know, to just because they're kind of political enemies.
Yeah.
A lot of time, I'm sure there's a foundation to it, and
Yeah.
it's interesting to even consider that as something that you'd have to jostle with in business life.
Yeah.
You know.
One key skill for every businessman is adaptation. You have to adapt and integrate with the environment that you are operating in. You have to, whether you're in Africa, Latin America, you have to learn the language. You have to speak to the locals, befriend the locals, and have concern towards them. Be concerned. Many people, they just go to a certain place. They want to suck everything they can and then leave. But the people who really succeed are the people who integrate. They learn the language. My family my great granddad went boarded a ship from Lebanon, thinking he was going to Brazil or Latin America, and midway he realized that the ship is going to Africa.
Oh my lord.
So he got off, and he didn't leave. He stayed in Africa. This was late 1800s, early 1900s.
Ships take a while to get
Yeah.
to places. You can't
So he
just jump on
stayed.
the next one, right?
True. He stayed and he adapted, learned the language, started working in diamond. Sierra Leone is full of diamonds, and it just went on for generations. Even my granddad, he speaks 7 tribe languages of
Dialects
different
and stuff,
dialects
yeah. Wow.
in Sierra Leone.
Crazy.
My dad has been living there for 40 years. My mum was born and bred there. Yeah, from both sides. I have a lot of people from.
Wow.
We eat some African food at home.
Yeah.
My family from my mom's side speak African at home sometimes. I can still speak it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's called African Creole, the language.
Right. Yeah. So interesting, man. All right, let's swing back to, so we touched on competition before, and it made me think about one thing that I always think is, like, obviously being anyone on Instagram with like more than a few followers, you get a million. Like, the most common approach I get from a company who wants me to advertise their stuff is clothing. And in a way, I think because social media is so, people are spending so much time on the phones now, when someone thinks, right, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start a business, it's actually one of the first things that they think of.
Fashion,
clothing
yeah.
company,
Mhm.
something like that, you know, whether it's gym clothing or high street stuff or whatever. And you see them, I see just thousands upon thousands, and
Yeah.
I think it would be easy to say it's a saturated market, but also I don't know if, I think because it's quite a not the right word, but quite an obvious one for people to start. A lot
Yeah.
of people start it. I don't think the quality, there's not the same quality as, you know, it's deep but shallow. It's broad but shallow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think like it's worth starting a clothing company in 2019? Do you think it's, people should be deterred by that, by how many there are out there, or do you think that, you know, you just got to be better?
How many people wear clothes in the world?
Well, yeah,
Everyone.
most of them.
Yeah. The clothing business, just like the food business, it's always a necessity. So I don't think it's ever saturated. It's just a matter of finding your group of people who wear your product, and it doesn't have to be broad. Who wears skinny jeans, like for men? I don't see too many people wearing skinny jeans in the world. The way, like this similar skinny jeans, like the way. I don't know how to say it.
I think if you're bringing, like, if your clothes are really good or different, or like people actually want it. Like at the time, there was a demand for it, but it wasn't very popular. Like having a tapered ankle, and now it's becoming like mainstream.
Yeah. When we first started, not many people used to wear it because it wasn't in the market, but there was a demand for it. So, but in general, men do not normally wear skinny jeans. It's a minority of men who wear skinny jeans. Yet we started a company, and we did well selling it to these people. So it's if you can identify a segment, a market segment that's willing to wear certain product, just master that product. Do make it the best. Try and make it the best in the world and sell it to them. Then come up with a second idea, a second product. Make it the best in the world, and then move into it. So when we did design the jeans, by the way, all designs, and my brother handles them. So he's the one, any good product that's out there, like this denim jacket or anything, it's him. So for the t-shirts, for example, we try to make these t-shirts to we're always trying to give a solution or to make something better. So most of our customers are fitness people. They go to the gym, so they want to show their bodies. And let's say for the t-shirt, if you look at what makes men attractive, one of the things that make men attractive is a wide neck. Like, this is subconscious,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
people find
I've heard that. as well.
people find men who have broad necks as attractive. It's masculine. So the way we design the t-shirt from here, it's quite tight to give the impression that the neck is wide. Also for the shoulders, a lot of people who do muscle fit t-shirts, they make it tight all the way down to the bottom. But when you're bulking and it's tight, you're gonna look like
It's
you're
a
pregnant.
bad look.
Yeah.
A tight t-shirt right the way is just a bad look in
True.
general.
2012.
So we made it tight on the upper body, but when it comes to the the belly, it's loose. So whether you're bulking or whether you have a belly or not, it's not gonna appear as bad. What else?
Like when it's tight at the top as well, it makes you look like you have broader shoulders, which is another masculine trait.
Yeah. Also the sleeves, we try to make them short because the longer they are, the more it covers the arm, and the arm would look smaller. So it's just a matter of finding who your customers are and providing a solution for these customers. Make them look good. If you're in fashion, make them look good.
I think that is something that that I also find on YouTube, that a lot of people think that the niche is going to be, they underestimate the size of the niche.
Yeah.
Like any niche is a niche, like, you
Yeah.
know, because I've seen YouTube channels that are about like things that if I said to you, right, there's a guy on YouTube and he resoles trainers out of old bits of like material that he finds on a scrapyard or some shit like that, like you'd be like, it's not much, like no one's gonna watch that, like, you know.
Yeah.
And there will be people that watch it, like.
True.
So I think it's massively underestimated. I think.
True.
I think.
You know, the first year when we first started and we made £480,000, we were selling 6 pieces of jeans. That's it.
Yeah, 6 products. Yeah.
6 products, jeans, different colors.
But
That's it.
I think that is so much. This is right. I don't know if this is a parallel or whatever, but I'm gonna try and draw it. If I go into a restaurant, I like a small menu. I don't want to think like,
Yeah.
is this better than this? You know. Or
Yeah. You're
I
going to
wanna be,
confuse the
like,
customer.
I just want like basics that are done well, and also because if I see 6 things on the menu, I think I bet they're fucking sick at making those 6 things because they've
Yeah.
done it 1,000 times. Like,
True.
and that I think that we're kind of choice is only good to a point, and then it becomes detrimental. Really,
True.
I think you definitely better to. I don't know if that even does translate over, and if that is a real parallel, but
Definitely does.
yeah.
Like with our jeans, when we first made it as well, like I thought it was really good and everything, but when we started selling it and started getting the reviews, everyone was like, "These are the best jeans I've ever owned," and like there's so many of these, like they're constantly these types of reviews.
Yeah.
And
And the
then-
customer is
yeah.
the quickest way to get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the customer will tell you what they want. If you start something and the product is not as good, the customer will tell you. If it needs improvement, the customer will also tell you. Just listen to the
Many of
customer.
our customers are actually just giving us just feedback,
Yeah.
just because they actually like it and they want to see like different stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we kind of, I don't want to say mastered. You can never master something fully, but our jeans are really, really good, and our customers are very satisfied with our customers. So once we finished with the jeans, also we didn't stop improving on them. We continuously improve our jeans, but now we are also focusing on the next product, the t-shirt. These denim jackets, for example, did really well last year. This year we expanded the range, made some improvements based on the customers' feedback, and now we're launching a bigger denim jacket collection. So it's just a matter of trial and error. Make sure you're very well presented as a brand. Be concerned about the customer. If a conflict happens, a customer is not satisfied, you take the loss. Compromise for the sake of the customer, just to keep him. It's very expensive to get a customer now, and marketing is becoming more and more expensive. So maybe let's say you pay a customer to acquire a customer, it costs you £10 now. In a few years, maybe it's going to be £20 because a lot of people are moving online.
Yeah.
The competition is going to increase. The bidding is going to increase. So maintain your customers, make them happy, and you take the loss. If there's an issue, your customer's not happy, let the brand take the loss.
In terms of influencer marketing, on that note, have you found since 2016 what people are asking for in exchange for posts and YouTube endorsements or whatever it is? Do you find that that's increased much, or do you think that as there becomes more influencers, there's actually more that you could potentially go with, and so you can.
With the increased number of influencers out there, two things have happened. The cost is the same. For us, none of the influencers we started working with before, we didn't come to any one of them and tell them, look, reduce your prices. We don't do that. We have agreements, and the more the influencer grows, the more we're willing to pay. But the results you get from influencer marketing dropped slightly.
Right.
It will drop. So it's a matter of choosing the right influencers from day one. I think one thing that really made us successful also is we know which influencer is going to bring results and which influencer is not. And we were very strict with this. We didn't work with anyone, or we didn't waste money. Like, for example, you are one of the most influential people we've ever worked with. Like, the people who follow you seriously follow you. And this is the kind of people we like to work with, because these people bring us the highest return on investment. So with the increased number of influencers, the price, we can reduce the prices. We can find better deals now. But also the results we get is going to be much lower.
Yeah.
Because people are following so many people.
Exactly.
Everyone's telling them, do this, do that, buy this.
Products,
There's so many products, yeah. So it's just a matter of choosing your influencers very carefully.
Mm.
Yeah, like when we started, our main influencers were you, Marine, Rob, Brandon.
Mm.
Yeah, and like you guys knew each other.
Yeah.
You had a really good following. Like all you guys are really engaging. So that was like part of our success.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I think it's good because we were kind of a group in ourselves in a way.
Yeah.
At least me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I didn't know Brandon too well, but at least me, Rob, and Mariah.
yeah.
You know.
And it really helped. Once we mentioned the overlap of followers.
Oh yeah, I
among
remember asking
influencers.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the audience, I was because obviously myself, Rob Lipset, Marine, Brandon, we all have done a lot of stuff for Legend London in the past, and I once asked if that's a wise thing to do if you're paying both me and Rob, to post a picture in your jeans. A lot of our following is the same following. A lot of our followers overlap, and so are you getting the best bang for your buck in terms of exposure there?
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
you can answer
One thing that makes an ad work is repetition and frequency. How many times is the person going to see your ad? Most people, when they see an ad for the first time, they wouldn't buy. But with influencer marketing, it gives two effects. When we work with people who have similar or common followers, one thing, you're increasing the frequency of how many times this person is seeing the ad, and you're giving the product more authority, because once he sees you wearing the jeans, and let's say he's into fitness, let's say we're talking about the fitness segment, he sees you wearing the jeans, he says, okay, nice jeans. And then he sees Rob wearing the jeans, and then Marine, and then Brandon, Mike Diamonds. He sees all the people who he's following are wearing it, then he feels like, okay, this is it gives more legitimacy to the brand, because all of these people who I follow are wearing it, so I should wear it as well. And if it's a good product, he's going to wear it once, he's going to buy more. The lifetime value for our customers is quite high as well.
Yeah. Interesting. Right, I've got a few questions. I'm going to see what I got. All right, tell me what was the most difficult part of the whole Legend London process? Like,
Um, we've been asked this before, but like so far it's been pretty smooth.
yeah,
Like ever since we started,
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's been easy.
easy, man. There you go. Everyone start coding. Put your last 8,000
But
into a closing.
I have to explain, because we took our share of hardships in the things we've
Yeah.
done before.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that was our
Spend money
share.
on learning, man.
Yeah, we spent money on learning, time, effort. I've never been to a nightclub since I was in college until I never used to go out. I never used to party. Nothing. I was just too focused on reading and trying to start a business. I was so consumed in this idea, I didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So even with the failures, they were really tough. But the reason why Legend London has been so smooth is because we've had our share of hardships
Yeah. Yeah.
before it.
So what's the end game? Like, is he gonna
we
give
want
it
to
on
be
public or what?
Global brand.
Yeah.
Definitely, I can see Legend London a global brand. The execution now is how can we transform, because now we sell good products. The next stage is branding. How can we get the brand? How can we become like Nike?
Yeah.
One thing behind the reason why, look, Legend London, we sell clothes, yeah, but we don't just want to sell clothes. We want to give out a message, a brand message that says, like, find your greatness, be great, find your craft, never give up, be consumed in something that you really like, and be great, whether it's sports, art, whatever it is, racing, whatever it is. Just find your craft and be great at it.
And
Because this is our story. We failed so much before, but it was only when I told my brother, look, one last try, just give it one more try, and you'll make it happen. So we're trying to communicate the story, our story. You know, even it says it from Legend London. Even when we started it, we thought Legend London is going to be something. This is why we called it Legend London. Like we want to encourage people to become legends, in a sense, without sounding too cringy.
Yeah, sound like, oh, legend, mate.
Without sounding too cringy.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with a lot of media companies now. I'm trying to find the right people to do the right content. So we want to spread this message. So yes, we're giving people very good clothes, but at the same time, there is a message behind this that we want to send to each and every one of our customers, or even if someone is not our customer, just enjoy the videos we're going to create.
And in a way, like, I know we're spreading this message and everything. We're just a clothing brand, but the way we look at it is like, this is the uniform. We provide the uniform. Like, they don't have to worry about clothes. We'll be the ones to provide the clothes, while you just work on you, that type of thing.
Yeah, find your greatness, wear greatness.
So what do you think about the whole, like, I think I read recently that a lot of high street shops, high street clothing stores are suffering a lot due to the rise of all the online, you know, you got like your Pretty Little Thing and Boohoo, and even like what was the first one, like ASOS was one of the first like big online stores, and what was the other one, you know, all of those. Do you think it's going to keep going that way?
Definitely,
because the high street must be people are always going to shop on high street. I mean, a lot of people do just prefer it, right?
Yeah. Even sometimes I go to Oxford Circus, you know, Oxford Street in London. And when I visit the shops there, I don't find anything for me. Mainly the products that they are displaying now are mainly for, apart from Zara, for example, and these, but let's say Debenhams, John Lewis, they're just promoting products that are more typical for the older people, like mid-aged men, because they know that these are the people who are still shopping in shops.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue because everyone's moving online now, and it's going to grow. E-commerce is going to grow, especially fashion.
Well,
So the thing that really damaged UK retailers when it comes to fashion is Brexit and the currency fluctuation. The value of the pound went down.
Yeah.
So I think last year I read on average they lost 13. I can't remember if it's 13 or 20%. They made 13 to 20% less profit just because the value of the pound has gone
Wow,
down.
that's insane.
Yeah.
It's not great for us going on holiday as well.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a few times this year.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
But shops are going to stay.
Yeah.
But they're going to become more like to give customers an experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go to a certain brand, to a shop for a certain brand, and you try to get an experience of what that brand gives.
Well, I was going to say it's interesting because you walk through any shopping centre, the most busy store is the Apple store.
Yeah.
Innit? Because it's just decked out, looks like this futuristic
True.
thing. There's all these little people in shirts who are going to tell you all the features.
Yeah.
And everyone who's not even thinking about buying
Yeah.
it, something is going in there.
Yeah.
And they are like, from what I understand, pretty much the king of retail space, like in terms of like the profit that they make per square foot
Yeah.
of floor space. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the Apple store is like highest.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's higher, obviously in part due to higher ticket items, but it's not like you're just wandering through this bright maze of like some shops that I just want to get out straight away. I hate going in a lot of them, but like it is this whole experience thing, isn't
True.
it? Because that is one of the products that a lot of people, if you're going to buy something online, it's going to be something like that, isn't it? You
Yeah.
don't need to go to a store to buy
True.
an iPad or something.
Yeah. Yeah. They just want to give you an experience, and I think in London they do. Apple Store does some online, like training programs.
Right.
So they sometimes take kids on trips to the Apple
Yeah.
Store just to give them like a talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're
Wow,
given
indoctrinating them into Apple from a young age.
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to be
yeah.
careful about that. Jesus. Yeah, because it's interesting how like companies like Gymshark, not a single house, they just do pop-ups. Like
Yeah.
they've obviously got the resources, the knowledge, like everything. If they
Yeah.
wanted a retail store there now,
Yeah.
they could do it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they obviously just don't see the value
True.
in it. Like so, I
That's
suppose it's
true.
a good kind of metric.
Yeah. They do pop-ups for brand awareness, to increase sales in the countries they're doing the pop-ups in. I think they have a gym now.
Oh yeah, I
Do
think they
they?
have a gym at their actual offices or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That gives them.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a futuristic gym. That's what I heard.
Right.
I saw the thumbnail, but I didn't
I
watch
haven't
the
watched
video.
it yet. I'm gonna watch the
I wanna
YouTube
watch
video
it,
though.
yeah.
I've seen it on my suggested. Yeah.
But I could see from just the thumbnail, I could see where it's going. They want to give a good experience or an experience of a futuristic gym
But
for
I
people.
think that's what you see. Like when a company's doing really well, that's when you see them doing stuff that you're like, this isn't immediately going directly into profit, like, but it's giving you a good image and it's giving you, something that people are going to talk about. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about that gym now.
Yeah.
Like even like if you go to the office, like I'm sure if you walk around Silicon Valley and have a look in all the offices, they've all got fucking bean bags and meditation pods and like slides. Like the office that we're in right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a slide, right?
Yeah.
There's a slide. Like, you know what I mean? And when I tell people, like, I'm like, there's a slide in that office. It's sick, And like, it's something that like companies can do once they get to a point where the surplus is that like,
Yeah.
right now I'm gonna have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's good. It really keeps. When
Because you got to have fun, right? Sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off. You gotta have fun if once
If
you're
you're working,
making some
yeah.
money. Like you're like, right, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, am I just gonna be hustling for the sake of? Because
Yeah.
hustling for the sake of hustling, that's not the end goal, is
Of
it?
course,
You
yeah.
want to do something with it,
Of
man.
course.
You want to enjoy. Obviously, you want to enjoy the process, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rewards as well. Like,
True. All these things help building a good culture within the company where people are not just colleagues, they become friends. When you compete someone on table tennis or like you play games in the office, they become friends, and it relieves the tension and stress.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's good.
So is there going to be a Legend London office one day with
Yeah.
a slide in it
Yeah.
and table tennis? And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hopefully.
Sick, man. Get me a podcast studio in there.
You
All
have
right.
it.
Let's wrap up pretty soon, but let's just give me. I'm going to ask you a very generic question.
Yeah.
That's all right. Give me. I'll say 3 to 5, however many you can think of. Some tips for people starting out in whatever their. Give me some
Business.
general tips. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first business.
First of all, I think the mindset. They have to have the right mindset, where you shouldn't have, when you think of money, you shouldn't have any mental blocks towards money. So when I went to Africa and I saw all these successful business people, 50 million, 100 million, big companies, they have no blocks when it comes to work or when it comes to money, apart from ethics. Not all of them had ethics, but most people I knew,
Yeah.
they were making their money ethically. So no mental blocks. If you are going to start a business, you have to go all out. Even if when we first started Legend London, we were sleeping at 3 a.m., waking up at 6, sometimes 6, sometimes 9 a.m., and from 9 till 3 we're not doing anything but working. We were doing the fulfillment ourselves at the time. Now we're working with the fulfillment center. We were just hustling, no matter what it takes. You have to get it done. So once the mindset is there and there's no mental barrier between you and success, that's the first stage. You're willing to do absolutely everything. I hear sometimes some people coming to me, they say, I have this business idea, I want to work on it for 6 months, 1 year, and then I'm going to get someone to run it for me, and then I'm going to retire. Business people do not retire. I see them 60, 70 years old, at 6 a.m. he's in the office. They gain pleasure. They find pleasure in business, in what they're doing. You cannot start something just for money and then be half in, half out. This is the mistake I did in 2 businesses that I started before. I was half in, half out. So when I went to Africa, I cleared my mental blocks. Secondly, you have to do your research. So motivation is one thing. That's irrational. You're dreaming of something big. I'm going to make a £1 million company, a multi-million pound company from just £8,000. If you talk to anyone, that's going to say that's something irrational. So this is the irrational part, which is motivation. But then when it comes to a business plan, you have to be really smart. You have to make a plan for each and every detail of your business. Everything.
Let me just cut in. I think we are very heavy on the irrational side in our culture because we're a motivational we're a sound bite motivational video type consuming culture. I think we're very heavy on that irrational side, aren't we?
True.
Sorry, carry on.
And secondly, once you get to the rational side, this is where knowledge comes in. So how can I turn £5,000 into £1 million company? That's knowledge. You have to read every single wealth creation business book out there. Read them, and also don't be so generic. Don't say, I want to start a business. What business? Which sector? Is it a restaurant? Be focused from day one. Just choose, even if you don't 100% like it. I didn't have interest in fashion before starting Legend London. I only developed this interest when I started Legend London. I never used to shop much. I never used to go out. I used to wear the same kind of t-shirt, like black t-shirts and jeans for years. Not the same one, of course, but I changed them. But so I developed an interest in fashion when I started Legend London. I started reading everything about fashion because this is my craft now. Fashion, business, marketing. Just read as much as possible and be focused on what business you want to start, and spend a whole year just reading about it, planning, and be an expert in that field, because you're going to provide solution. You cannot come up with a solution if you don't have the sufficient knowledge. And finally, think long term in making decisions. Always build very good relationships with people. Be good, be honest. Your integrity and reputation is key. When people trust you, they want to work with you. They know they're working with someone and they're in good hands. So and scale. Once you build the business, you start seeing money, just scale it. And one more tip, scalability. When you come up with a business idea, make sure that it's easily scalable. You, from the very first moment I decided to start a business when I was 19, I knew I was going to start an online business. I didn't know what it is, because online businesses are the future. Online businesses are easily scalable. The market, 60% of our orders go outside the UK. That's a huge number. If it wasn't this idea, let's say you start a restaurant, how long does it take you to start a second branch? Months. How long does it take you to start selling in a different country for an online business? Just a few clicks. So find a business that you can easily scale up. And good luck.
I also think you shouldn't overthink it. Like when we first were starting, we didn't know what we were getting into, but like you cross each bridge as you go along. Like we learn as we go along, and we've learned so much in the last 3 years, and now we feel like we're so motivated. We want to take it to the next level now. Like in November, we've got 30 plus new products coming, and then December another 20 products. We're just going to be constantly releasing new stuff now. And that's just working on scalability.
Yeah, we didn't rush into scaling Legend London beyond our own capability. We didn't want to mess things up. I think we could have easily made a lot more money last year, but we would have made big mistakes along the way. So we could have made more money, but at the same time, maybe we could have damaged the profit margin a lot. So we were it's like we took our time just to sharpen our tools, and now we're ready to start in a non-violent way.
Hammering on shit.
Like when we were designing new products, if there's just like a touch that we didn't like, we wouldn't put it out there.
We used to scrap the idea, We were perfectionists, so we had a lot of products that we wanted to launch, and then we scrapped them. We got maybe just a minor thing that's not perfect, but we cannot find. We were trying to be perfectionists, but it was counterproductive.
I think you obviously benefited from doing it together, right?
Yeah, of course.
So good to be able to throw your ideas off each other and so you know that shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
His strengths are my weaknesses, and my strengths are his weaknesses. Like it's just
we
a really good dynamic.
We complete each other. Yeah. I'm an extreme risk taker. He likes to be cautious and takes his time to think.
Yeah.
In many things, we are two extremes.
Yeah.
I've learned to be a bit more reckless, like with this.
You become
spending a lot of time with him. Like.
Right. I think that wraps it up. Thanks again to the boys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
More shout outs to Legend London generally. I'll link anything I can possibly link. Hope you all learned stuff and found shit interesting. See you later.
Thank you.